Hi, welcome to week 12 of your ag finance course. Now, in this week, I've got two videos for you. This is video one, and this video is just about the introduction of time value money as a concept. Many of you have had an ag finance or a finance course or even farm management. So time value money probably is not new to everyone, but I wanted to provide a little bit of a foundation. In this week, you've got a discussion question and a homework to do, but also in this week, you've got a outline of a class presentation, a PowerPoint. So you want to go through that, and so you can get kind of a basis of time value money. And that's what I want to do in this first video, is provide you some information about that. So let's take a look at the week. When you go into your week, you're going to see, again, as I mentioned, the discussion and the homework. But you've also got this PowerPoint here. And if I open that up, it's a chapter outline that introduces you to the concept of time value money. So we go through this idea of what is time value money and the objectives. But really the idea is money changes in value over time. So for example, talk to your parents and you can probably find out that they paid quite a bit less for a car 20 years ago. The car that you buy today, just wait 20 more years and the car you buy will be worth quite a bit more. Why is that? Because money changes over time. Its ability to purchase items depends on lots of external factors. But one thing you can bet is money changes in value over time. So how do we learn about this? And these sections of the chapter hopefully help. So time value money is this idea that a dollar could over time earn interest, and that grows its money. If you spend a dollar today, then we are enjoying something today, but in the future, you may not have that money because there's risk. And so these things prevent us from looking at dollars the same today as a dollar in the future. If you look at the concepts of time value money, it's really broken into two parts. What's the value today? Sometimes that's a question. So if you're looking at, for example, let's say a oil royalty that would get paid to you over 20 years and they estimate the value to be X dollars, then they might also say, or we'll give you this much money today. So now you're tasked with this decision of, I want to wait and get that money over time, or I want to get a dollar amount today. Well, you need to be able to calculate, what do you think that's worth? That's the concept of present value. All right, future value may be that you're trying to look at an investment today, what you would pay, and then what's it worth in the future. And so these are estimates of not today value, but future value. So really time value money is broken into either calculating the value today or calculating the value in the future. Now, these two concepts, although they're different, they use the same kind of variables, and these variables can be looked at as terms. So sometimes when you're looking at a investment of paying in or getting paid over time, what's it worth today, there's this concept of payment, meaning the dollars are paid over a period of time. That's also called an annuity, another term down here. But payment is one of the ways money comes into our present and future value calculations. So there's also always this concept of rate, meaning that the money will grow over time or it will decrease over time. It depends on which one of those you're looking at. But the idea is it will change at some value, and that value is identified as rate. And then finally, the last one to make sure you understand is this concept of time. Time is represented usually with an N. So the greater amount of time we have, the growth of a future value or the discount to a present value will change. So time is a function as well. So anytime you look at time value money, there's going to be a payment, or it could just be a solid dollar amount, no payment. So I shouldn't say just payment there, I ought to say just money. But payment, present value, future value, a dollar amount that's going to be paid. There is a second function of rate, and then there's a third function of time. And so we can kind of look at all of these at one problem together and get the answer we need. And so that's what we want to make sure we understand these terms. When you look at the week, you'll see some information about the concept of future value and growing, but I want to jump to this chart, the relationship between compounding and discounting. So compounding, as you can see on the top of the bar, is going from today, a present value, all the way across this line over time, which is years or money. As we move across this line, we move to a future value, and you can see that's pegged somewhere out there in the future. Now, this idea here, you can see there's not a straight line. It's a curved line. This curved line is increasing at what we call an increasing rate, meaning that compounding allows us to invest a certain amount of money, and if we can let it run long enough, then that gives us the potential of reinvesting our earnings every year, which means our money can grow, not at a constant rate. Even though it's earning at a constant rate, it's going to grow at an increasing rate, which is the whole function of how retirement planning happens. Retirement planning, compounding, will grow, but you've got to give it enough years. So if you've only got 10 years, it's almost a straight line. If you've got 20 years, you actually start to see the increase in an increasing rate, and that's really where you get a lot of growth. Every dollar you invest earns at a faster and faster rate. You just got to give it more time. So that's compounding. That's determining a future value. Discounting is the opposite. We're looking at some future value and we want to know what that's worth today so we can make a decision. Well, that's the idea of discounting. So compounding is looking at a dollar amount, a amount of time, and then the rate is embedded in this line, but that's what it's looking at, and it grows at an increasing rate. Discounting, looking at some future value, using time and money to figure out what is it worth today. And again, rate is part of that line. All right, so those are some basics of time value of money. Look at the rest of this chapter. It'll show you the formulas for this. It'll also get into the idea of how do we use this for investment analysis. But really what I want to do is jump into Excel and show you in the next video. So hopefully this video introduces you to the concepts of time value of money. Make sure you take a look at the rest of the week in this presentation here to learn more about it. Thanks.